I know this is mainly about William Shakespeare, Uncle Will. However, I was brought up in the TV age and I can't help myself. I just have to incorporate television punctuation, which I believe is stricter than Shakespeare punctuation. I'd like you to look at this handout. Some of the things are exactly the same. I'm going to go through them quickly because you've heard it before. Period. Big piece of punctuation, a complete stop. However, the inflection is either what they call flat, which means it keeps going straight, or a period when the inflection goes down, it says it's over. The thought is over. If it's not truly the end of the thought, then it goes flat. There's always a big gear shift change at the end with a period, just like in Shakespeare. Question mark, basically the same thing. It's a complete stop, it's an end. However, question marks are for inquiring and questioning only. Questions open people up. Answers fill people up. The inflection must go up for it to be a question, and sometimes for you to get the funny. If the inflection doesn't go up, you're lost. There's a wonderful person, Patsy Rodenberg, says that downward inflection gives the audience the feeling of pessimism and depression. I don't think anybody wants to be depressed. But an upward inflection gives you the feeling of curiosity and optimism. So your inflections are very important. An exclamation mark, it's used to show strong emotions, to exclaim the intention, to escalate. Same thing in Shakespeare. He's saying energy language, you need to pump it up if he uses an exclamation mark. And he doesn't use a lot of exclamation marks. Comma keeps the rhythm going forward. It's springboard, it's quick breath, and lifts into the next thought. The same thing is with Shakespeare. You take a quick breath and you lift into the next thought. However, ellipses are the dot, dot, dot. An ellipse lets a thought trail off, or you can be cut off, shows hesitancy or uncertainty. This will be in TV scripts, and you must obey it. Dash, dash, dash sets off words and phrases that interrupt a sentence, keep a thought, whereas a period changes the thought. You, in your scripts, when you get them for auditions, you should look at them and apply these methods. The backslash in the middle of a line means two people are talking at the same time. And I gave you an example from the play LMNOP. Two sisters are talking. Simone says, "You helped me move a bed to Boston, Devin, period, and you abandoned me halfway up the stairs because backslash," and that's where Devin jumps in. That is revisionist history, exclamation mark. So there's lots of punctuation, and the actors need to be totally aware of what is going on so they can play the specific rhythm for this comedy. I'm going to ask you to look at what I call the Rick Meredith handout and see the punctuation. Rick and Meredith was going to be a pilot about doctors, and someone brought it to me for help with an audition, and I found it very, very funny at the time. Rick says they're playing golf. They're away from the hospital, they're playing golf. And he says, "Okay, comma, if you don't want to meet me in the bunker at 17 with an air mattress and a gallon of tequila, you better swing already. Okay, comma." So I think he's elongating the O and the K, a vowel and your funny consonant, preparing himself for what he's going to say. If you don't want to meet me in the bunker at 17 with an air mattress and a gallon of tequila, one long thing, one breath, one thing, comma, you better swing already, period. Meredith's response, "I gotta think, period. Change. That air mattress sounds awful good, period. Change. Nah, comma. First we cure my slice, comma, then we cavort." Big pompous word. The nah is her thinking or playing with Rick to seduce him. So she has the funny, the elongation for it. First we cure my slice, then we cavort. His response is quotations, cavort? Question mark. Because it's a really big pompous word, and I'm not sure Rick got it. Meredith says, Webster defines cavort as, quotations, making love in a sand trap during a club championship, period, quotations. Stand back, period, I'm about to let one go, period. Are you wearing a hard hat? Question mark, this is hard hat area. She takes the word and turns it into something meaningful and playful and comic. Cavort begins with a K sound. It means making love, so she's being dangerous. Comedy is surprise and danger, so she's being very, very dangerous. Rick then says, if you don't hit the ball, comma, I'm going to grab you and have my way with you, comma, woman. Short sentence, back to monosyllabic words, which we talked about. He gets very, very, very visceral with this, trying to save himself. Meredith says, have your way with me? Question mark. So she's playing with him. She keeps opening him up, making room for him to fill it up. And Rick says, Webster defines that as, quote, not waiting until you get to the 17th hole and forgetting the tequila altogether, quote. It's simple and seems straightforward, but there's lots of little clues, character clues. And again, the writer wanted you to find this rhythm for these characters, and one of the ways to do it was the way that they punctuate the lines. I would like to finish with Seinfeld. George says, Kramer goes to a fantasy camp? Question mark. His whole life is a fantasy camp! Exclamation mark. People should plunk down 2,000s to live like him for a week, period. Sleep, comma. Do nothing, comma. Fall ass backwards into money, comma. Mooch food off your neighbors and have sex without dating, ... Capital letters. That's a fantasy camp! Exclamation mark. Again, the writers knew by this point the Jason Alexander playing George was wonderful and understood the character. However, he still needs help in his builds every single episode, and this is how they did it. Punctuation directs the voice like a sign on a road. Punctuation prevents the listener from getting lost. Inflection makes audible the movements of the text. Upward inflections normally are commas, semicolons, question marks. The thought is moving forward and building an idea of one or another, often causing either a rising line, which can raise the stakes. Sustained are the dash, 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 dot, 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 or colon. The thought is moving forward, but is temporarily suspended for a particular effect. More likely to happen if the final sound of or for the punctuation is a vowel. Downward inflection can be a period. The thought is ended. The final sound of the last word before the period is crucial to the end thought. End stops are period, exclamation mark, question mark, and they say the beat's over. I encourage you all to practice this, use these, explore them and experiment, and that's how you will come up with rich, meaningful human choices. Not rushing to a result, not pretending that the punctuation doesn't mean anything. All of this should mean something very specific to you. Today's quote is from Hamlet. Polonius says to his children, "This above all, to thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night the day. Thou canst not be false to any man."